what's going on, everybody? Isaac here with Civil Engineering Academy. I wanted to jump on and do a quick introduction of this podcast episode. I bring on a very special guest. She's actually a new contributor to Civil Engineering Academy and the work that we're doing, and her name is Maithili Dey, Maithili, and last name Dey. And I want to read real quickly her bio just so you get to know her a little bit better. She's fantastic. I think you're really going to like her. But she was actually born and brought up in Khulna, Bangladesh. And after she graduated from a school that was an engineering university, KUET, she started working in the civil engineering industry out there. She worked out there for 5 years with 3 different companies, did all kinds of stuff regarding technical relations, management, engineering, bidding documents, all kinds of fun stuff. So she brings a lot of international experience there. And then she took the GRE and took and passed that. She got admitted into Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia, and came over to the United States in Wisconsin and got married, had a kid, and now is back into the civil engineering journey. She recently took and passed the civil FE exam. And so she shares with us a lot of tips regarding the FE exam and also how to stay disciplined and work hard during times and events like this. So anyway, guys, I think it's a really good episode, and I think you're going to enjoy the interview. If you want to contact her, she leaves her contact information at the end of the interview. Please reach out to her and give her a big thanks for this. And if you have any questions or comments, maybe some tips about what you could share about the FE exam, leave them in the comments below, because they're always good for other engineers to hear and see. So anyway, guys, I think you'll like this episode, and it's coming right up. See ya. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another fun episode. I have Maithili Dey with us today. How are you doing?
Hi, Isaac. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. We're excited to have you on and share kind of your journey, your experience being a civil engineer, and hopefully get some tips out of you on what you did to prepare for the FE and things of that nature. So as we dive into this first, why don't you tell us a little more about yourself, maybe how you got into engineering, and what you like to emphasize in, things of that nature. How did this journey start for you?
Well, I was born and brought up in Khulna, Bangladesh, and my school, college, university was all there. And so in Bangladesh, the education system is like that. We can choose the discipline, science, arts, or business from grade 9. So when I was in grade 9, I chose science. And after my high school, then I was preparing for the admission in engineering school. So in Bangladesh, it's also a system. We have to pass the exam to get admission in any engineering school or college, medical college, or any university. So I got chance in civil engineering department in Khulna University of Engineering and Technology, Kuwait. Then I started my bachelor. So when I was studying, that time I felt my passion is in water and wastewater treatment. My thesis topic was the effluent characteristics of shrimp processing industries. And after completing my graduation, then I came to Dhaka and I started my career. So first I joined as an intern in Buildtech. So I was designing for residential buildings. Those were 5-storied, 6-storied buildings. I was the only one woman engineer in that firm.
Wow.
So that was a small firm. It was a nice journey. It was a nice experiment.
Could you go back to what you said Taka, right?
Yeah.
Describe what that is. What's that?
So about my project?
Yeah.
Okay. So those the sites weren't in Dhaka, outside of Dhaka.
Okay.
So I worked for 2 projects, and those the soil condition was good. So those buildings I designed for normal footing foundation. So one was in Chittagong Division, Noakhali district, and another was in close to Dhaka. So my internship was like near about 9 months. So
Okay.
I finished one project and another was going on. Then I joined as a manager, international division in South Asia Management and Engineering Services. That was an interesting experience. So I was preparing technical proposals and recruiting international civil engineers. So that
Wow.
time we met a lot of international experts. So
Wow.
I learned about especially bidding documents, bidding stage, how to win the project. So I learned those uh, topics from that company, SAVES.
Wow. It sounds like you got a lot of experience very quickly in that.
Yeah, because in my university there was not there was not any session yet, so just I completed my 4 years and then joined uh, in a job. And after the journey of science, then actually I followed my passion because I have already told you,
Good
I,
job.
yeah, I love to work for water treatment, wastewater treatment. And then I joined as a junior engineer in emergency 2007 cyclone recovery and restoration project, ECRRP. uh, so my firm was RPMC, resource planning management and consultant firm, and I also worked for the local government engineering department. So the project was to build construction of cyclone shelters, government primary school come cyclone shelters.
Hmm.
Those were elementary schools, and the project was funded by World Bank. So anything we prepared, uh, for example, drawings, architectural drawings, plan, elevations, structural drawings, uh, other papers, specifications, environmental impact assessment, social impact reports. We all had to
Wow.
submit to the World Bank. So it was another nice journey because that time I got an opportunity to go to very close to the people.
Yeah.
I worked for the public and sites were in remote area. So, and I was working at head office
Hmm.
in local government engineering department, LGD. So the
Now,
objective,
what is a cyclone shelter? Is it just that it meets certain specifications so that it can take on a cyclone, or what is that
so
detail?
actually our project goal was to provide shelters to human beings and their livestock during natural calamities. And
Ah,
normal time, they use that shelter as school, elementary school. So for this reason, the name is Government Primary School Cum Cyclone Shelters.
gotcha.
And it's not, and one more thing, I'm really happy that these shelters, the schools cum shelters are right now using for this purpose.
Good.
It helps a lot of people. And these buildings are not a typical cyclone shelters. I mean, they're in our project there were three types of buildings: option one, option two, option three, recurred to the land availability. So option three was a three-storied building. So second floor actually,
Hmm.
uh, livestock can take shelters. So we provided a
Really?
ramp from both sides, so they can easily enter into that shelters.
That's awesome.
And also provided emergency facilities for pregnant women,
Wow.
and solar panel, and of
That's
course two tubers in each schools so that they can get fresh drink water.
okay.
Safe and hygiene sanitation facilities we also provided, and
Wow.
two wells installed either second floor or third floor. So it was really
That's
an
great.
interesting journey. Yeah,
Okay,
interesting
so you did
experience.
that. Now take us through how did you end up here in the United States? So keep going on your little story. This is great.
Okay, so I finished phase one in that project. After
Hmm.
that, I got married in 2014 and came here in Wisconsin. Then another journey started. My daughter was born in 2015,
Hmm.
and when she was 20 months old in 2017, that time I decided to come back in my career. And first thing I started to prepare for FE exam.
Good. And you've got that done. FE is
Yes.
excellent. So I guess what's next is a career, get some experience, and then apply for probably the PE is probably on your radar.
Yes. Yeah, now I'm searching for jobs, especially in water resources field. And of course, I'm in touch with my study because it needs for the preparation of PE.
Yes. Well, that's great. I think you bring a lot of, I think, a different experience because you have an international experience, and now you've come here to the United States, and you'll be getting experience here. So you've got all of these different experiences that make you I think, a better engineer, knowing how the whole world works on some of this stuff. So that's really great. I have another question for you, but what through all of your experiences is there a tool or a tip or even some career advice that you would share with like the next rising engineer?
Of course, I have. So, two things actually I realized. The first thing is software skills. It's very important for engineer like AutoCAD, Civil 3D, GIS, STAAD Pro, ATAPS, HECRAS. So when I was studying that time, I it was actually in my course STAAD Pro.
Mm-hmm.
Then I learned AutoCAD and ETABS. But in my career, my previous job, I didn't use ETABS. And here I learned HECRAS and Civil 3D. But
Great.
AutoCAD is it's still ongoing process. And of course, I have basic knowledge of GIS because it needs about mapping, surveying. So where the location, I had to update the report.
Yes.
These tools are really important, and the next one is networking. Networking is
Good.
another tool. It's really very important to find jobs, to develop any skills.
That's perfect. I love that advice. And I think, not only do you need to understand the software side of things, as you graduate and you start working in an industry, you realize that there's, obviously there's quite a dependence on the software. And it's also helpful to understand how that software is working for sure. And then I really like your comment about networking. And there's a lot of different ways to network. You can join different societies. Um, and today it seems like LinkedIn is a great way to try to make connections with people too,
Mhm.
and introduce yourself and things of that nature. So yeah, networking is a big deal. Thanks for sharing that. How about why don't you share with us if there was a lesson learned or something that you've seen a mistake from a distance or mistakes you've made yourself? Tell us something that's happened in that arena.
It's a great question. I am always learning. I make mistake, and I also made mistakes in my previous job, especially when I entered as a junior engineer in cyclone shelter projects. That time, first time I prepared estimates for the improvement shelter and new shelters. So that time I also learned another software, RSAPS, for estimating. So it was new, and you know that each and every item in detail we have to reflect in the estimate because it affects the budget and bid document. So that time I missed some items, codes. So my senior engineers, my detail team leader, they were really amazing, my folks. So my senior engineers really helped me to understand, and that time I learned that how to overcome these mistakes and what should I focus, especially when prepare the teammates. And then I learned in detail about the software RCPS.
Great. Yeah, I think you know what, when you're preparing estimates, it is you miss a few things and it could hurt you on the other end.
Yeah, it's
So
really.
you discovered that.
And one thing I learned that, that we engineers are always under pressure with a lot of things on the plate. It's good because we can learn, and I also learned how to handle pressures, solve
Yes.
issues, because most of the time I had to talk over phone, different sites. So
Yeah.
I also learned from that conversation.
That's a good point. I think when you're maybe in school, you think you might have more time to figure out a problem. Because, I mean, in school, you have to take time to solve problems. But when you get out in the workplace, there's deadlines that need to be met. And it's almost like, I hate to say that they care more about that deadline, but, it's like you have to be really efficient. You have to solve problems
Yes.
quickly, make
Yeah.
decisions on things much more quickly than you think you do. So that's a good
Yeah.
point. I love that. Um, well, what about this one? What's something you've been working on recently? I actually haven't mentioned to people, but you've been working a little bit with us at Civil Engineering Academy. But what are some? You want to go into any details on what's been an interest of you? What are things you've been working on in the civil world
Sure. So
today?
now I'm searching jobs
Mm-hmm.
in water resources arena. So I'm preparing. So I'm also doing some self-certification courses. I last week I attended a virtual training program uh, about fundamentals of secondary treatment in Central States Water Environment Association (CSWEA). So I always try to attend this type of webinars, conferences regarding job hunting and my field. So
That's
it
great.
really helps me, and it also involves me those types of works, and I am busy with them.
Yes.
And I'm also preparing contents for Civil Engineering Academy to help other engineers pass their FE exam.
Great. And we have appreciated it. So we've
Thank
loved
you
that.
for you, because you gave me this chance.
And we did a little review of your LinkedIn profile too to try to help boost your visibility there. So, and I open that up to everybody. If anybody wants a review of their LinkedIn profile, shoot me an email and we'll do a little review of it. So hopefully that, helps you out in the long run. So that's great.
Thank you.
So I say let's switch over to the FE now. And you have recently passed that. What are some tips you could share about preparing for either books or courses or resources, or how you took the exam? Any strategies and tips you want to share about the FE exam?
Yeah, of course. So the first tip is I felt that of course we have the clear conception about the syllabus, civil CVT specification, calculator specifications, and time management.
Mm-hmm.
And about books, so I also bought F. Emmanuel Lindbergh book, like
Great.
other engineers, and I also want to mention other books like the Civil Ultimate. Uh,
Oh, our exam?
yeah, FE exam
Okay.
from Civil
Yes.
Engineering Academy. I also bought it. It really helped me.
Good.
And other books from PPI
Yes.
ebooks, and in YouTube actually we there are a lot of tutorials. So when I was preparing for the FE exam, so I solved a lot of problems. I tried to solve a lot of practice problems, so it really helps.
Yes, it does. Okay, so practicing problems, gathering resources, those are good
Yes.
tips. Maybe I could add this. We at Civil Engineering Academy put together like a free training program. So if people want to kind of kickstart their studies, they could go to civilfereviewcourse.com/free training. And it's like an on-demand webinar where we'll teach you kind of how to get started and resources you should get, things of that nature. So definitely go check that out too. But yeah, YouTube's a great resource. There's a lot of free content on there. We ourselves produce a lot of free problems to solve, and that we love trying to help people there with that as well. So let me ask you this: with time management, a lot of times that really hurts people, and they don't realize that you don't have that much time to solve a problem. So, I mean, at the same time, the problem can't be as difficult, as the time they give you. But what did you do to try to manage that? What did you try to do to, I guess, manage your time?
Oh, okay. So when I practiced those problems, I always set timers. Like I was set in my mind that I have only 3 minutes or 2.5 minutes. So some simple problem or some fill in the blanks, that we can easily solve it within 1 minute or 2 minutes.
Yep.
So I suggest the step that we should try at the beginning. When we practice, we should maintain it. Then it will be habit. So then we won't face any difficulties. It's tough when we start, but when we have started, then it will be a habit to solve any problems. Some problems it takes 4 minutes, any structural problem or transportation problem. So yeah, in my exam, I saved many times, and then I focused those problems. So
Yes.
it really helped me.
Yep. No, that's great. And I think that applies to any exam. That would apply to the FE and the
Yes.
PE exam.
Yes.
So yeah, make sure you're giving yourself a timed either exam or time yourself on the problems you're solving. And when I took the PE exam, I remember I would set aside 4 hours to do like the breadth exam. And so, you gotta, if you take it timed, you're really setting yourself up for success, because you're putting that pressure on yourself to try to solve these quickly. It'll just help you out. So good tip. I want to jump into some quick questions, kind of a short answer round with you. So what's an obstacle you faced when you became a civil engineer? What's been the biggest obstacle?
It's a good question. Actually, obstacle is part of our life. It is, I feel sometimes it is good. So when I was preparing for the exam, so I faced difficulties because new country, new environment, new culture. I didn't have any books or notes. I didn't have any friend here, and with
Yes.
toddler, it was really tough. But I overcame. So I realized that I could overcome because of two reasons. The first one is when I started in my bachelor, the syllabus was uh, international standard. So when I restarted, it helped me. Yeah, few courses are new, but it was okay.
Yeah,
So it
that's good.
it really helped me. And another thing that my family, my husband, he helped me a lot. My friends, most of my friends live in another states, but they also helped me. Here, some of Bangladeshi students who are studying in UW medicine, they also helped me. So
Great.
it's really, yeah. And my mother-in-law visited here, so she stayed us. So that time she also encouraged me. So
Good. So you had a good network of support, it sounds.
yeah, actually, I have really a good network, not only here when I was in Bangladesh at my job. So it's really, this network always helps me.
That's good. I think that's important, especially when you're studying for these big exams. I mean, you have to get support from people and their buy-in
Yeah.
to help you, because this ends up being almost a part-time job when you start preparing for these exams and studying for them. So that's a great advice. How about this one? What's the best advice you've ever received, or just good advice in general? You've already shared some, but maybe there's one more.
Okay, so discipline. I
Discipline.
believe that discipline is the key to success. And from my childhood, I learned this advice: discipline. My father is very disciplined,
Mm,
so it really, I think, anything to achieve in
yeah,
life, discipline is the key factor. And another one is hard work.
very good.
Without hard working, nothing is possible. So I believe these two things are really important in our life.
I love that. That's great advice. Yes, I agree. In today's culture, everything's so fast paced, with phones and social media. It's hard to sit down and be disciplined to look at, civil engineering problems and solve those, but or just things at work sometimes too. So, no, that's great advice. I love that. What does that translate also to any personal habits you might have? How do you?
Yeah, actually, I'm an early bird. So I always try to finish my hard task in the early morning before my family members wake up. So it really helped me to pass my FE exam and anything. So
Yeah,
I always support this habit, yeah, that I have this one. And I always try to divide a big task into smaller steps. That really helps me. And another one, I always follow a notebook. So what I finished, I just note down. So at the end of the day, it really makes me happy that what I had done and what are those paintings. So
yeah,
this notebook really helps me.
that's a
I
great,
feel that it's a real, yeah, it's a great start for the next day.
yeah, great tip. I like that. Um, I love hearing what your habits are and your work ethic is. I think it's great, man. If anybody out there needs a water resources engineer, you got to get a hold of you. This is great. Let's keep
Thank
going. Just a
you.
few more quick questions. Is there someone that you look up to in in life, and why?
I always try to follow my teacher's advice, my bosses, my employee, yeah, my bosses, my folks, my friends. So I don't want to mention any specific name, but they really helped in my early career, and still they are in my touch. So
Great.
it's really good. And I also want to mention here that you also advised me, guided me, I follow your guidance. And one person is Mel Butcher. So one of my friends, actually, Lin Jiao, she introduced her through LinkedIn. She is also a nice person and she is also helping me. So whatever I need, I want some guidance. So you
That's
guys are
great.
always help me. Yeah.
Hey, that's great. I love that. It's what do they say? It takes a village to raise somebody, and maybe all these professors and all these influences in your life have really formed how you are, and that's really great. How about this? A resource. What's a resource you'd recommend to the Civil Engineering Academy community? It could be something on leadership or education or something fun. It doesn't have to be engineering, but what's something you'd recommend to the community to check out?
Well, so for leadership, I want to recommend one book, Dare to Lead by Brené Brown. I read this book this year. So she focused on the vulnerability, and we can't avoid the difficult situations or conversations. So, how to deal with those?
Mm,
So she presented some examples, stories with solutions. So, I think this book is great. And for engineering, I always try to read articles, podcasts, blogs. Like last week, I have already told you that I attended a training program, so I got a handbook. It really helps
hmm,
to develop skills and the present situation. So what's going on in industry? Because I am focusing in wastewater water treatment, so I always try to read those articles, blogs, posts.
that's
So
fantastic. Well, we'll link some of those resources, in the show notes when we're done with this. But that those are great. And I think every civil engineer needs to learn something on leadership, because you do become the leader of what you're doing. I mean, whether it's your project or you move up in management or you become a project manager, all of those things, leadership is good skills to learn about. So, all right, how about a fun question? If you had all the resources or all the knowledge in the world, what's something you would like to be a part of in the world of
It's a
civil
good
engineering?
question. So, yeah, if I had all those resources, I want to work for those people who are suffering for the scarcity of fresh, pure drinking water
Mm,
and safe and hygiene sanitation. Because now in this world, in this present situation, most of the countries or most of the parts of the world still are suffering safe and pure drinking water.
oh man, I think there's some really good organizations out there too that help develop safe drinking water systems in places that need it too. So I think that's a great cause, great thing to be a part of. That's probably one that I would choose to. So that's a good choice. Okay, well let's go ahead and wrap this up. Is there any last piece of guidance or anything you'd like to share, and also share like the best way for our audience to contact you if they have any
Um,
questions about your journey, or if they have a job offer? That'd be good too.
okay, yeah, people can contact me by email.
Okay.
So Maithili.Dey, Maithili.Dey, Maithili.Dey@gmail.com. And for women, actually now I'm following the page in Facebook, Call Up Sweet. Uh, so they are actually working for women empowerment in industry. So women engineers can follow this page.
That's
It's also good.
fantastic.
And I'm also, I want to tell your viewers that they also can follow the Civil Engineering Academy. Now I'm preparing contents and also some other contents, other tutorials will come. And it's really helpful because it helped my journey to pass FE exam.
Good. That's great. Great stuff. Thank you for sharing that. So I'll just repeat your email. That's Maithili Dey. That's Maithili.Dey @gmail.com.
Yeah,
Right?
that's correct.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you for joining me. This was really fun. I think you shared a lot of, good tips for not only the FE, but just life in general. So I love the experience you've had international. Now you're here in the States, you're getting experience here. And I just think you'll be a really good engineer well, you've done great stuff for us, but I think when you get a job doing wastewater stuff, you'll be fantastic there too. So thanks for joining me on this episode.
And thanks, Isaac, that you invited me on your podcast episode. Thank you very much.
All right. See you later.
See you. Bye.